The nuns were extremely influential in my life, the nuns and my mother and father. By the time I got there in '47, I started at 4.5 years old in kindergarten. The war had only been over for 2 years. So there was still a lot of talk about it, and the nuns who were there had, some of them been through World War I and were very elderly, but they told us so many stories about how they helped the underground in France or in Germany or wherever they were, that without even knowing it, you just absorbed a lot of role modeling on how to live up to your standards and be willing to stand up for what you think and be willing to take some risks for it. These were the things that, little by little, infused in us an appreciation of the outside world and what the possibilities were and what our responsibilities were. By the 8th grade, we were interested in seeing the boys as they would walk by the window of the classroom, which had blinds, and I distinctly remember that they would go walking by. They had lunch at a slightly different time, and we would lean out the window and the nun would come over and snap those blinds shut. Like, you're here to learn, pay no mind. Grotto was just a symbol, I think, of spirituality. And we really hope, that the Grotto being here at Carolina Day, that it will be a place of meditation or just a place where a student or even faculty can go for some quiet time. About 1953, Helen Keller came to speak to us. She was an imposing figure. I do remember that she had such a presence and an aura of confidence around her. And one thing I remember her talking about was that she did not want pity and didn't need pity. She had overcome so much in her life and had made such an impact on her own world that's the main thing I remember about her, that she was a great role model for what you can do and what you can overcome. Going to a girls' school, we may have been a little behind on the social interaction with boys, but on the other hand, we didn't have to compete with them. So we were able to be officers in the student council, and we directed the play, and we were captains on our teams, and so forth and so on. So it never even occurred to us that we couldn't do something within the school. When we got out in the real world, there was a glass ceiling. That was a shock. And the Vietnam War was just getting over, and there were many, many Vietnamese children who came to Texas, airlifted basically right out of the area in Vietnam. And there were no ESL programs then. So I and a couple of other mothers, we started one. It was quite successful. We were given lifetime memberships to the Texas PTA for the work we did with these Vietnamese children over 4 years. And we did a lot, and I'm sure we weren't thinking about serving humanity when we were in high school. Mostly we were wondering who our next date was going to be with and what we were going to wear to the prom. But this was all being infused as we went along. And years later, when we had our first reunions, you know, we talked about the fact that there was such an impact on us, and we didn't even realize it as it was happening.